In this video I'll show you how to use the solve command to generate the solutions of more than one equation. On the screen we've got two examples that have been set to us. The first one is a fairly common type of example question in algebra where we have two linear equations in two unknowns. And we can use the solve command for these just as well as we can for single equations. So I started off the same way. I say solve and I want the solution of, but there are two equations, so I have to list them, and lists go in braces. So the next thing I need to type is a brace, and then I say 5a minus 6b is balanced with 4, double equals 4. That's my first equation. The next equation in the list, so I put a comma to separate them, is 7a plus 4b is balanced with 1. And that's the end of my list. If there were more equations, I'd just carry on putting commas and equation, comma, equation. When I reach the end of the list, I close off the list with a brace, and then it's polite to list the quantities that we wish to see the solutions of. So I want the solutions of A and B, so that's a list again. Open a brace, A, comma, B. Close the brace and finish off the command. Now I'll press Shift Enter to see if that's going to work, and yes, it does. I get answers out. They're rather horrible looking fractions, so obviously to do that by hand would not have been pleasant. If you don't want the solution in fraction form, what you want is a decimal, then again just make one of the numbers, or more than one of the numbers in the question, a decimal, and the answers will be decimal. The next question that's been set for us is a little bit more challenging. There's more to it because we have to generate the equations before we can do the solve. But this is the situation in which we will want to solve multiple equations. That is a situation where we want a function to go through points. So we have to substitute the points into the function to create a balance, and we have, in this case, we have three unknowns in the equation. We have in the function a, b, and c, and so we have to use the 3 points to generate solutions to the three unknown parameters. So in this case we are going to be solving. I'm going to start writing my equations one on each line, just so that it's easier to read afterwards. As you've seen, you don't need to write the equations on separate lines. We didn't in the top one, but here we will, just to make the presentation tidier. But I do need to brace them up because there's going to be a list of them, so I'll open a brace, then start a new line. The first point here, 1, 5, means that when x is 1, the y value has to be 5. So 5 has to be balanced with this function with 1 substituted for x. So that would produce a times 1 squared plus b times 1 plus c. Now I'll put a comma to separate for the next thing, and I'll write the next equation on the next line. And here we have 8 balanced with whatever I get when I substitute for x is 2. So I have a times 2 squared plus b times 2 plus c. And finally I have 3 balanced with, oh sorry, that's the wrong way around. It's 2 that's balanced with. 2 is the y value. 2 is balanced with whatever happens when I substitute 3 for x, which is a times 3 squared plus b times 3 plus c. And that's the end of my list of equations. Now I should list the variables I want the solutions of, a, comma b, comma c. Close off that brace, close off the thing. That's the command entered in. Press Shift Enter now and see if it works. And yes, it does. It gives us the answer in fractional form. If I want it in decimal form, just change one of the numbers to a decimal and I will get the decimal solution out. And that's how we solve more than one equation simultaneously.